from the farthest reaches of the galaxy, the Midwest. You're watching Beyond the Blast Doors live.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa,
Festivus,
all those things. Yep. Episode 52 of Beyond the Blast Doors is live, and this is going to be our holiday special, as we're just a couple of days away from the holiday, whatever you call it. Christmas, or maybe you don't call it anything. I don't know, but we're just trying to be respectful. You know, we're trying to be kosher. Hey, it's the 23rd. We're excited to talk some Star Wars. This is our holiday special, and over the course of the next couple of minutes, I say probably going to be an hour. Getting feedback from my laptop. That was weird. We're going to be talking about a lot of great stuff that is holiday. Oh, man, we're getting feedback on my laptop, and it's not turning off. There we go. We got it figured out. David, how are you doing?
At least we know that we're coming live, though.
You, honestly, I'm having a blonde moment right now.
Are you?
I'm just a little disheveled. We're a couple days away from Christmas. Mm-hmm. I just got all my wrapping finished, and everything is. Didn't even get to enjoy it under the tree because we had to pack it all up because we had to go out of town.
I try to do my Christmas shopping early now so I can get it wrapped and under the tree and enjoy it before I do my holiday travels.
Wonderful. Well, aside from fumbling that intro, we hope that you're doing really well this morning and not regretting your decision to watch the show. A lot of great things to talk about. Mandalorian update with the cast and some maybe appearances of characters we know from the original trilogy. We're also learning new information. But it's fueling that debate about who is Darth Vader's father. And it's always interesting how you have that iconic scene in Revenge of the Sith, but now we're getting it kind of retold from a different point of view in the comics. And it's just interesting to fuel all this because I think more people are upset that this is a conversation that's coming from the comics and not a movie. But at the same time, I don't think it's the reveal that everyone thinks it is. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of being cryptic. We'll explain that later on. But first, let's go ahead and dive into this, that Star Wars 9 has to prove The Last Jedi didn't ruin Star Wars. We're going to stay here on camera right now because this was something that we kind of just added last minute, but I think it adds an interesting conversation about the box office for not for Last Jedi, but for Episode 9. We still don't know the title of that movie coming out in December of next year. And we're at that kind of year out from the release of that movie. Mm-hmm. And the argument that Scott Mendelson makes in this article is that this final movie has to make a lot of money regardless of if the movie is good or bad, because the box office is what's going to be its legacy as a failure or not.
Right. This article is really fascinating. I always love when Forbes talks about movies because they really go in depth. And they kind of compared Star Wars and its trilogy of trilogies to some of the other big ones that we've had, like the Matrix trilogy. Mm-hmm. And one of the arguments that Scott Mendelson's making here is, did The Last Jedi ruin the Star Wars franchise? And he kind of takes it back to Matrix and a few other trilogies where he looks at the middle of them and says, well, as did pretty well in the box office, but then the third movie of the trilogy, which was arguably the best of several of these series, tanked at the box office or significantly underperformed because the middle movie wasn't very good. So with the legacy of Star Wars and this 42-year franchise, is it going to be successful as a closer because of The Last Jedi and the controversy behind it? I thought it was fascinating.
It's a real dive deep. I'm going to encourage you to look at this article yourself. We'll have it down in the comments below after the episode wraps up. But I think it has a lot of insight, breaking down the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, then going over to other franchises comparatively to see how the films stack up. And it's a very legitimate argument that he possesses. I think, you want it to be a really good story that does well, but I think you'd rather have a bad box office follow a bad movie than a bad box office follow a good movie. Because I think the experience that we had with Solo in theaters, I think it could be exaggerated if that were to play out here with Episode 9. So hoping for a good movie. Want you to check out that article. Maybe while you're listening to us right now, you can go over to Forbes.com and check that out.
Before we dive into real talk, David, we're in the live chat, and a few people are commenting that our video is a little choppy.
All right, well, Jordan's hanging out right there because we have a director on the
Jordan.
show. And they're going to try and see if we can smooth that out. I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to do in this moment, but we're just going to plow through together. It's going to be great. Before we go to Real Talk, though, let's talk about where you can follow us: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's the best place to know when we're dropping new videos. Maybe when we aren't having choppy video. I don't know. You know, it's the internet. You know, there's like atmospheric pressure. I think that's a factor in how all this works.
Does Hannibal have fiber?
No.
No.
Oh,
you poor people.
Let's not bring up where we live. Let's go into Real Talk. Real Talk is the segment where if you can watch it on the screen, whether that's the big screen or your iPhone or a tablet, this is the segment where we're talking about it. And we have an update on Nick Nolte's character, and this has me rolling around. I'll admit, I'm pretty sure a couple episodes when we talked about Nick Nolte's casting, I'm like, oh, he'll be like a mentor. He could be like a bartender. But it's...
Nope.
It seems like he's going to be voicing a Ognot, so he's not going to be on camera.
He's going to be a dumpster diver.
Yeah, so...
the voice of a dumpster diver.
Making Star Wars is the one that kind of broke this, and so this could be all considered maybe spoilery, but this is for The Mandalorian, so it's not like we're going to ruin Episode 9 for you. But, I mean, maybe this ruins The Mandalorian for you. I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. But yeah, he's going to... According to Making Star Wars, they believe that Nick Nolte is going to be voicing this Ognot, which you know as the weird, like the pig-looking characters from Empire Strikes Back. Do we have an image, Jordan, that we can throw up there? Yeah, that's an Ognot. It's ugly. It's like a pig face with like the horn things, and they work in the...
I think that's a good representation of the Star Wars diversity, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Oh,
you
for
have
sure.
to have some ugly-looking things in a universe of pretty people and models.
I think the planet Homeworld for the Ognot is like Ginnies or something. I don't know, but they're just a species known for loyalty, and that's why they were kind of like thrust into slavery. I think during the Republic era. I was doing a quick canon dive before the episode, but they ended up teaming up with this like really eccentric billionaire, trillionaire, whatever you would call them in the Star Wars galaxy, and they built up this floating city, Bespin, and then as a reward, the Ognots were allowed to live there, like in the lower levels. So
we permit you to live here. Thanks for building this. Get to the basement.
it's kind of like indentured servitude. It's kind of in the same grain. So I think it's kind of cool to see a familiar species that we've seen not just in Empire Strikes Back, but we've also seen in Star Wars Rebels. And I think there was a Clone Wars appearance, but I know for sure that there was an Ognot that was running around with Hondo, your favorite bounty hunter.
Not a fan.
So there's an appearance there. So
what I think is going to be really cool about this, David, is that we're used to voiceovers in Star Wars with droids and Vader, but they're actually giving this Ugnaught an animatronic mask, and it says that it operates on voice command, which is kind of cool. So they had an actor there with a mask and robotics.
And we're going to assume that it's not going to be Nick Nolte, because I'm sure that these actors had to have training to really get their mouths to work in a way that it all picks up. Okay, cool. Well, here's the other thing. Here's the real nugget that's exciting is some bounty hunters. We've been talking about how bounty hunters need to be in The Mandalorian, and it looks like IG-88 and Bosk, and we have an image to show you, and I spent a lot of hard work on this image. Oh, this isn't the image. Oh, no, this is the right one. This is the right one, but the thumbnail for the episode has them in Santa hats because it's the holiday special.
I think it's adorable.
Isn't that cute?
We should have had Santa hats. I feel bad for not thinking about that.
You know, you find out that IG-88, so there's the droid that is IG-88. Like, I don't know the type exactly. It's an assassin droid, but I don't know if it's like how R2's an astromech.
Yep.
IG-88, whatever he is, that kind of droid has been found on set. And then you have a Trandoshan costume found on set. Trandoshans are known as being slavers. That's pretty consistent in Star Wars EU and in canon. They're the ones that enslaved the Wookiees.
IG series assassin droid.
There we go. So I was kind of right. I was like 50% right. Cool. So
I'm stoked for this.
I'm excited because
really excited.
I think IG-88 is like the one bounty hunter that I've always wanted to see. What is that droid truly capable of? Because I still can't fully process just how aware of a droid is. Like, I'm so used to the Trade Federation droids that, they're all kind of piped into the main hub in space, so they don't really make their own decisions. They're operating based off like protocol. But IG-88 seems to be super independent. No controller. Like, there's no one operating with a joystick.
So I love IG-88. I remember being a kid, and it was Tom Hastings and Bobby West and we'd sit in the reading corner in third grade during like reading time, and we'd get out the Star Wars Visual Encyclopedia. This was like before the prequels came out.
Yeah.
And we'd sit there and we'd flip through them. And I was always fascinated by the droids, especially like R2-D2, IG-88, absolutely love them. And one of my favorite scenes of the entire trilogy is Empire Strikes Back, when they've got all of the bounty hunters kind of standing around in the, I guess that's a Star Destroyer, and Admiral Piet kind of leans over, bounty hunters, we don't need that scum. And then Vader starts talking to Bosk and IG-88 and Boba Fett and all the other cool creatures there. They're just looking menacing, like they're going to, come and slit your throat, because they probably are. I'm excited. I want to see IG-88.
IG-88 in the expanded universe, I don't know if this is new canon still, but IG-88 was known for wanting to wipe out sentient beings. Wanting like a droid revolution.
Do you think this is what they're going to give us instead of like a murderous 000 from Dr. Aphra? Like, are we going to get that kind of personality in an IG-88?
I think so, because that's exactly what you get with the IG-88.
Or do you think IG-88 will be a little more professional versus 000, who's kind of all over the place with his psychopathy?
I think that between the two of them, I think Bosk would actually have more of a role.
Okay.
I think IG-88 is going to operate more like physical response and just like walk off and just like I don't expect a lot of personality coming from that droid.
He's just going to come in, shoot things, and leave.
But I definitely see Bosk being like a very grumpy individual, not happy about being on the show. Like, it would be funny if he broke the fourth wall and be like, I don't want to be here. But he's not really a Deadpool kind of character. But I think Bosk is the one that might have a little bit more involvement with everything. So, what do you think? Are you excited about IG-88 and Bosk coming to the screen? Coming to the screen again? How about Nick Nolte as an Ugnaught? Like, at first, I'm like, wow, that's kind of offensive. But now I think that's pretty genius.
I think it'll be cool.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Next topic here in Real Talk as we cruise along here is we now have a composer for The Mandalorian. So we had a couple of weeks where we had a lot of news about Cassian Andor series coming out, and now we're getting some Mandalorian updates. Man, would love to see that episode 9 trailer teaser anytime soon. But nonetheless, Ludwig Göransson will compose the score for The Mandalorian, and this excites me a lot because he's known from recent success with the Black Panther movie. He received a Golden Globe for that and a Grammy nomination. He's been involved with Creed and Creed 2, and I just binge-watched. I just saw Creed 2 in the theaters, went back and watched all the Rocky movies. And I saw 2, 3, 4, 5, and Rocky Balboa for the first time.
He's had a busy 2018 between Black Panther and Creed 2, and he did Venom.
And he did the Childish Gambino album for
He's done a lot
Donald
of
Glover.
them.
So what it also shows is that the diversity. And I think that there's like a lot of iconic moments in the Black Panther
And this
score,
guy's
for
only
example.
34.
Yeah, and he looks like a
And
rock star.
You look at his credits. I mean, this guy could be huge over the next 30 years.
What I like about it, too, is that, like, he seems like genuinely excited. We have a quote from him. This, of course, given to us by StarWars.com. Words fail to express how surreal and humbling it feels to be invited into the Star Wars universe. I'm deeply grateful to Jon Favreau and Disney for this opportunity and to join John Williams thankful to John Williams for raising the bar so high with his iconic, intrepid scores. They will never be matched. In these next months, I hope to honor the tradition of Star Wars musical landscape while propelling The Mandalorian into new and uncharted territory, and I will try to remember that there is no try. So with that reference alone, I'm like, wow, this guy's a fan of Star Wars. He's a fan of the franchise. He's excited. He understands where the franchise has come from in the 40-plus years. I think it's smart. Like, I'm not trying to top John Williams. You will not top John Williams in Star Wars, maybe in cinema, ever. But I'm going to try and do my best, and it's going to honor what he's done. So is that the same kind of reaction that you get from this?
I'm excited for it. I mean, we've talked a lot about the non-John Williams-related scores in the Star Wars universe, like Solo and Rogue One, and I know you've been ultra-critical of it.
Very.
I mean, most of them don't bother me at all, but I don't know. I'm excited that he's a fan.
I think, real quick, Rogue One, I think that Giacchino did a good job with the 3 weeks that he had. It was just he had 3 weeks, and I like what he did, but it would have been cool to see what he would have had if he had 3 months. And then with Solo, I think that John Powell did a nice job, and I think Williams did a great job with the Solo theme. There's some confusion whether or not the score was actually submitted on time for Oscars. So still trying to figure that out because some say that they're still involved, like they're still in contention to win. And
Who
then there's
dropped the ball on that one?
well, we're not sure, but there's articles that were coming out saying that
Someone's
Solo
getting
was
fired.
released because they didn't get it in on time. So I'm trying to sort through all that stuff. If you know the answer to that question, you can let us know in the live chat or the comments down below.
The most reassuring thing for me is that Disney is giving movie quality to this show.
Oh my goodness, yes. And like I was trying to say earlier, like how many iconic moments from that Black Panther, like every time we fly into Wakanda, you know, in Black Panther, I'm like, that is epic.
You
The
just get
war
chills.
battle. It's great. And they capitalize on moments where like with Rogue One, I just kind of felt like the score was just like it was just a track of music underneath. Where I feel like in the Black Panther, in Creed 2, with Childish Gambino, like the music. Well, of course, with the CD, it's going to have a role. It is the CD. But with the movies, like, there's a point. Like, it's a character of itself in those movies. And so I'm really excited. And, like, there's this featurette that I watched where he went to Africa and studied native African music
Well, that's kinda
to
cool.
incorporate into the soundtrack of Black Panther. So, like, this guy goes 110% into the work that he's doing. I will say this. Like, I'm really excited. I think this is a solid pick. I think he's one of the top composers right now in Hollywood. I'm still going to be disappointed that this is not where Kevin Kiner got his opportunity to do more work with the Star Wars scoring. He did the Clone Wars, he did the Rebels series scores, and it felt like a great transition, a great modern take on what Williams has done, also creating his new stuff. I know that we want new, fresh, and exciting. I'm not bashing, I'm not mad that we have Ludwig. I think this is a great pick, but you still have Kevin Kiner in your back pocket, and I thought that this was going to be where he was going to be able to flex his abilities and do a live-action series. So I hope that in the future that he gets another opportunity and he's not just the Star Wars animation theme writer. So that's all I have to say about that. I'm excited. I really am. I think he's going to do great. Like I mentioned, Creed 2, Black Panther, he did that Childish Gambino album that has sold millions of CDs and like millions of views on YouTube. I mean, that's also because Donald Glover's like the greatest gift to us aside from like Lin-Manuel Miranda in the last 100 years. Anyways, what do you think about this idea of having Ludwig come in and do the composing? Did you like the scores of Creed 2, Black Panther? Do you like Childish Gambino, his latest CD? If you do, then you really do like Ludwig. Let us know down in the comments below. Third, final topic here in Real Talk on this Sunday together is, you know, I mentioned that we've been getting this influx of Mandalorian news, and I was like, remember back then when we had Cassian Andor news? We have Cassian Andor news right now. So the showrunner, this was actually announced a few weeks ago, getting caught up on this, the Americans producer Stephen Schiff, Deadline broke the news that Cassian Andor show starring Diego Luna will be guided with Schiff's expertise, and this is a really good fit, I think, because Schiff comes from the American, as I've said 3 times already in this conversation. It's an espionage series. It's, you know, characters are put behind enemy lines. And I would think that is exactly what we would get with the Cassian Andor, you know, that line from Rogue One.
So that's a good fit then.
I mean, that's like perfect fitting. I mean, from the outside looking in, that looks genius. So the series drops sometime in 2020, we know. I'm pumped, even though I don't know a whole lot about them.
See, normally when we bring in new people and talk about how they're relating to Star Wars and what's coming up, I can go and dig down on their IMDb and find something that they've been a part of that I'm familiar with. For this guy, I know nothing about him. I've never even heard of the shows that he's written and produced.
I'm not a big FX. I don't watch a whole lot of their product. In fact, I don't watch The American, and I had to look up a couple of like, you know, what happened in this episode videos on YouTube, and getting caught up, and I'm down. I mean, like I just said a few moments ago, the show is exactly what you want this Cassian Andor series to be. It's going to be gritty, and it goes back to that Rogue One line where he says, you know, the things that whatever is, you know, the things I've had to do, you know, I've done a lot worse than this. It's like, well, I'd like to know what those things were. You know, how he can just kill his rebel informant. You know, there's a reason why he's that hardened. So it'll be cool to find out more about him. Deep dive in that IMDb, though. He is a pretty accomplished guy. So let us know what you think about just the showrunner being announced. You know, we still have to find writers for this series. This is still in its early infancy. It's not like The Mandalorian that's, you know, in production. Probably already has an episode or 2 already in the can at this point. because now they've been able to share their entire cast with us last week. But let us know down in the comments below. Are you excited about this Cassian Andor series more or less than the Mandalorian? Because I'm pretty thrilled. We're going to have 2 different Star Wars series by the end of, I would hope by mid-2020. Get Mandalorian late 2019. Boom. Cassian Andor 2020. Let's go into, you know what? I need a break. Let's do this. We're going to step away from a quick break. When we come back, Pages, Pixels, Pieces, and a deep dive into Darth Vader 25, the finale of Charles Soule's Darth Vader run. It was beautiful. It was fitting. And we are going to explore who is Anakin's father. We'll be right back.
All wings report in. Brand new Beyond the Blast Door collector pins are now in stock. Help spread the word about the Beyond the Blast Door Star Wars conversation by picking up a brand new exclusive show pin. Pins are only $8. Order and pay online at BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. Movies, TV, comics, toys, cosplay. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.
Welcome back, Pages, Pixels, Pieces. Go ahead, buy a pin. BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. Plenty in stock. We want to sell out of those bad boys so that way we can launch our second pin. Maybe there's some shirts on the way, too. Who knows? Pages, Pixels, Pieces. This segment is brought to you by the Fantasy Shop in Maplewood, Missouri. Proud to have our local comic book shop as our official sponsor. Comics, collectibles, toys, Magic the Gathering, and board games. The Fantasy Shop in St. Louis. Proudly serving St. Louis since 1981. Welcome back, episode 52 of Beyond the Blast Doors, and we're going to start with the comics of this past week, and not really Star Wars comics next week, so we're going to take a look at the great beyond that is 2019. But my goodness, you had Darth Vader 25, which is front and center. You have the Han Solo 3, the movie adaptation comic line, and then you had Star Wars Adventures 16, and we're going to spend probably little to no time on the last 2, because Darth Vader 25... It's been an emotional roller coaster for the last couple of days, wrapping up this series that's been going on for 18, 19 months. I'm going to miss it. When I think about, there is some great connective tissue here with the last panel of this comic and the beginning. But let's start at the beginning because it's Vader going through that portal, and he begins this journey of this dark vision, this dark side influenced vision. And he's going to meet familiar faces along the way. First off, he's brought in through the portal, not as Vader, but it's like his soul comes through. And we've seen that a few times before when he's doing like Force visions or meditating. Where you see that red on him, and he's walking around this plane, and he's going to encounter familiar faces through this. And then we get like this flashback where it's Phantom Menace era, and he's walking away from Shmi. And that iconic poster, you know, where it was him standing outside the hovel and it's the Vader shadow and it's the boy, that gets extorted with like Vader coming out at him, which is just incredible. As a nightmare. As a nightmare. And that's what my point with all of this is. I think that this is a nightmare. It's the dark side taunting Vader and trying to show him that this is the path that he's chosen for himself. There's no other direction for him. All hope of redemption is lost. And the dark side further trying to corrupt him. And you see him, you get like these quotes from the trilogy, from the saga really, over the course of this Force, nightmare, which I thought was really pretty cool because you have, there is no father from Shmi. You have, lines that come later that let the past die, kill it if you must from Kylo Ren. So it's really interesting hearing all that. You get this one moment where Vader encounters Ahsoka, and he's seeing Ahsoka, and he's seeing that scene from Rebel Season 2 where he is battling Ahsoka. So now we know, in that episode he goes, it was foretold that you would be here. Well, now we know how that is. So I love that because we've had a reference to the prequels. Now we've had a reference to Rebels. You have the Ahsoka, the Snip Sky Guy panel, so you get a reference to Clone Wars. So I really enjoyed that. When you're going through this comic, David, visually, I think everyone's thinking about that I am your father sequence where you have Obi-Wan and Palpatine dueling. What was your take on that? I thought it was fascinating with so the internet's blowing up right now about was Palpatine the one who manipulated the Force to make Shmi pregnant with Anakin. I don't know if I'm
for that or against it. Whatever. But I love the page with Palpatine and Obi-Wan with the "I am your father" in the middle between them, because both of them have been kind of like father figures to him. Obi-Wan's, trained him and been there for him, and then, of course, Anakin screws him over. But Palpatine takes on that role later on in the series, and so this is kind of an interesting point where Anakin kind of has to choose, and ultimately the fight scene is pretty awesome.
Kind of goes back, it kind of harkens back that whole "who is your father" thing, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the Mon Calamari dance. It's kind of insinuated there, too, that he is Anakin's father. I love the panels that you're seeing on your screen right now because you're seeing Padme just jumping to her death. That is not really Padme Amidala. At least I don't think so. I mean, you can interpret it as however you want, but to me, that is the dark side creating a vision of her.
But if this is the dark side, I mean, how ruthless. Like, she turns around and says, Anakin says, "Please, we have to go." And she says, "Why? I don't know you. Anakin Skywalker is dead."
Well, and some people have drawn a connection to that panel and to Kylo and Rey, where Anakin reaches out to Padme saying, "Come with me, you have to." Kylo reaching out, "Rey, come join me. It's the only way." And it's really cool to see how that happens. And
I mean, can you imagine how much that would screw you up? You've gone down this dark path trying to save the woman you love, and then you weren't able to do that. And then you think you have this opportunity of redemption, and then you get to see her looking beautiful and angelic, and then suddenly she says nope and jumps off a balcony.
And then lightning strikes and kills her, disintegrates her. Right now, you're looking at the final panel of the issue, and we're gonna go through the loop again. Why not? The art's in stunning. Giuseppe Camicoli is just the best. Vader says yes at the end of this comic, and that's a throwback to the first panel of the series where it's Vader saying no. And so Charles Soule in an interview on StarWars.com said that was the goal, is to start him saying no and battling and struggling with who he was now that he has become Vader. And at the end of this arc, saying yes, accepting to who he is, so that by when you reach Return of the Jedi, and it's no again. So it's showing that inner conflict of Vader, and I think it was really well done. Right before that panel, Vader contacts Palpatine and lets him know that he's not dead.
And there's a cool shot with him sitting in his Emperor chair with the red guard flanking him on either side.
Yeah, and then Palpatine's like, "I thought you were dead. I'd kind of given up on you." And Vader's like, "No, I'm the best." I really enjoyed just one more opportunity to experience Palpatine and Vader, because I really think that Charles Soule, one of the many things he has nailed is the relationship between those two, how manipulative it is, how trapped Vader is, how he is a slave to the Emperor, and I think that's really great. And, you see it, again, walking through this Force nightmare. It's just a reminder of the great potential that Anakin Skywalker had and what he gave up because of his attachment, and he just kept falling. And you're seeing this warped version of what we know to be true. Of how Anakin became Darth Vader, and I think it was really well captured. And it's an opportunity to say thank you to Giuseppe, because while we praise Charles Soule on the regular on this show for his writing of the story, I also try and do a good job of mentioning Giuseppe, because the art has the visuals from cover to the inside panel to the back have been consistently exceptional, and to me has made this the best Star Wars story I've experienced in the last 5 years, hands down.
So I'm a big fan of Flash. I'm a big fan of Nightwing, and I struggle now to read some of the different authors who've been on those lines, because this has set the bar for me so high.
So when we think about, I don't know, the best moments, I guess, because we're kind of wrapping up now. It's the finale. It's over with. The best issues, the best moments of the 25-issue run that stand out to you.
I don't know if there's a single best issue, but the two arcs that I love the most were the Fortress Vader, the last one that we got, and the very first arc that we have. I love the ruthlessness in the first one as he's going out and trying to track down a Jedi so he can kill him and take his lightsaber, and Master Killick and Fala. I really like that as he just goes through and slices through even the stormtroopers as friends. Love that 100%. Love this 7-part Fortress Vader. I thought it was really cool to see the different designs of the fortresses, and the final one that we get in the very last panel. I thought those were both great.
I really just I'm watching the video play out over Jordan's shoulder, and I fall in love with the visuals and the sense of like you see Anakin come back out as Anakin. He's not Vader, and I think that's the thing is when that's how Vader views himself, is the good part of him is Anakin and the evil part of himself is Vader, and just to see him kind of feeling again and losing Padme and the rage, just exceptional. I really think that this last one has been a favorite of mine. This last arc is a favorite of mine, just because it opens up the possibilities of so many news stories we can tell. Moment allows you to tackle Old Republic era stuff and Sith lore. I think you have more to uncover with this castle and Vader, because now the question is, well, what does Vader do once he says yes? Once he accepts that he is this machine, what does he do next? I mean, that opens up a whole new series, really. I really like that first single shot that we got. It was after the first arc, I believe. It might have been 13. I should have looked this up before, but it was the one where he goes on the hunt against
Tarkin.
I thought that was really cool. And that was a great way to bring in... Honestly, though, now I'm thinking, was that a Star Wars annual?
That was 18.
That was 18. Okay, great. So I thought that was really a stellar issue, because we hadn't really experienced filler. And I thought it was a really cool concept, because if you've read the Tarkin novel, Tarkin is this really experienced, not just military mind, but he is a hunter himself. I mean, he's had to survive on his planet, and so that was pretty cool to see how that how that played out. And then we talked about the art, the best covers of the series. I go to 2, the variant that we got with the rain falling on the clone trooper helmets. I think about 5. 5 to me, Giuseppe's best work is that close-up of Vader's helmet with the eyepiece shot out. Those are mine.
I really like issue 9, which is the cover of Vader and Jocasta Nu in the library.
Yes.
And I think what I really like about that one is that she's got her blue lightsaber lit up, and there's a tinge of blue across the whole cover. And I really like Giuseppe's his coloring, his shading, his shadows. The glow is a good way to phrase it. I love how he does that in his art.
I like how he makes a flat image look shiny. It's cool.
I really love number 19. That's the one with Vader reproducing the 77 poster with the lightsaber up in his hands and Palpatine in the background. Love that. I think that's classic. And then Vader in his castle, issue number 23, where he's kind of standing on a rock with the
castle off in the distance.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
That's gorgeous. I'd like to see issue 25 in person. I've just seen it digitally with Vader and all of the lava, but
I was hoping that there would be a virgin cover for that, but I think it has the regular, graphics on it, which isn't a problem at all. I was hoping that would be a virgin cover and just have it just be the art. But honestly, all 25 of these covers you could display on a wall. They would all look fantastic. So Charles Soule, Giuseppe Camicoli, thank you so much for that 25-issue journey. Like I said before, it's my favorite Star Wars of at least, if not the last decade, for sure the last 5 years. It was just so cinematic, that whole experience. So that's going to do it for Darth Vader 25. If you've read that series, let us know down in the comments below what you have thought about it. If you haven't read it already, have we finally convinced you to read this series? I mean, for goodness. I mean, go to your... that's a good filler right there. Goodness. Go to your local comic book shop. We go to the Fantasy Shop in Maplewood, St. Louis, and we just... we buy them, and we read them. We love them.
Fortress Vader, the 4th and final trade paperback for this series, will be out on February 12th, it looks like. So you can catch up pretty quick.
All right, cool. Thank you for that update. That's awesome. And then we're in a rapid fire. Han Solo, number 3. This is the movie adaptation for the comic. We have some video of that we wanted to throw up there for you. This is the cover in case you're looking for it still. Star Wars adaptation, or not Star Wars, Solo, the movie, Solo Star Wars story adaptation number 3. This is the point where he is going to meet our main villain. You've seen how this plays out, and it's how Han gets suckered into having to go on this heist in order to get, what is it, the coaxium that they needed?
Yeah.
Isn't it coaxium? I think that's what it was. I'm pretty sure I got that one wrong. But I'm trying to speed through explaining this comic. It ends with them getting led to the Millennium Falcon with Lando. So that's where that goes. And then the last comic, Star Wars Adventures number 16. This one is with Kaz and Poe, I should say. This is a tie-in for Star Wars Resistance. It is, if you like Star Wars Resistance, go ahead and get this comic. It's IDW. This definitely targets the kids, but if you're trying to stay up to date with the shenanigans going on with Star Wars Resistance, as Season 1 has wrapped up, you can get this to hold you over until Season 2 kicks in next year. So that's going to do it for comics this past week, coming out not this coming week, but this coming year, because 2019 is the next time we'll get new Star Wars comics. You see here on your screen, I'm most excited for the Age of Republic, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Jango. We also have an Age of Republic special comic coming out. While we have this graphic up, David, do you want to talk about maybe some comics in 2019 that really excite you, other than the hardcover omnibus of Darth Vader? Because we know you want it, David. It'll be your Christmas gift.
Like we talked about a week or two ago, we'll have Vader Dark Visions coming out in March. That'll be a 5-issue run, which should be pretty cool. We still have the Age of Star Wars maxi series that's going to take us through March. I'm really excited for the Count Dooku and the General Grievous ones. Once they wrap up with those, we'll move into the Age of Rebellion, which is going to be characters from the original trilogy. So we'll get Lando and Jabba, Boba Fett, so that'll be exciting for Jesse. There's going to be a Grand Moff Tarkin one that'll be really cool, a Vader, a Leia, a Luke. And then that's going to run us through July. And then when we hit July, they're going to go into the new trilogy for the Age of Resistance. And we'll get Poe and Snoke. I'm looking forward to the Snoke. We'll get a Phasma. We'll see if that's any good. Rose Tico will have one. So will Hux, Rey, and Kylo Ren.
I'm just so excited for just the variety of books that we're getting, the variety of characters we're going to be able to explore with this maxi series, Age of Republic, and of course, when the Rebellion unrolls and the Resistance reveals that stuff. Like it's going to be a lot of fun to see all these books compiled together.
They haven't announced any more ongoing series yet, but we're going to continue on with the main Star Wars line. It looks like Dr. Aphra is going to keep going. And we'll see what they announce after that.
Aphra is not going to slow down anytime soon. What comics are you reading right now? What comics do you want to check out in 2019? Let us know down in the comments below what you're thinking. If you're over in the live chat, let us know. Are you going to check out any of these single shot Age of Republic issues? Let us know. We want to continue that Star Wars conversation. If we can for a moment before we go on to Stash It or Blast It, what's going on with the live chat? Looks like we have Celos in there. We have Mando Fury himself. We've got Jesse hanging out with us.
He's got the plague, but at least he's hanging out with us. We got John Boffman in there. We've got Ms. P. Who else we got? Count Von Strange, the fourth, hanging out. Discovery Bay Comics has been with us since we started the episode. We've got a guy named JD. Welcome.
Cool. Well, it looks like John is asking if all the Age of Republic comics are single issues, and they are. They're all single shots, and that's the fun of it. We're going to get, I think, 30 to 40 single shots, which is going to be pretty cool. And then you're going to have Celos. He's just chilling. Always great to catch the show. He says, great show always. I really appreciate that. And, so we're just hanging out there. Let's keep having the conversation.
27 one-shots.
27? Okay.
9 from each of the eras and the trilogies.
That's right. Okay. I knew I had that number wrong. And then it looks like Count Von Strange goes to the fantasy shop in Fairview once a month. He's kind of a Midwest guy. You should go to the fantasy shop in Maplewood and let him know that you watch Beyond the Blast Doors. Let's going to do it for comics. Oh, wait. We have toys.
Yeah, we do have toys.
Holy cow.
Hasbro's revealed a new line of Star Wars toys that are relating to the Galaxy of Adventures.
Are you excited about this?
No, but I'm not an action figure guy.
Yeah, but isn't it kind of cool you get a figure with the comic?
Like a mini comic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I were a kid, I guess I'd be okay with this, but I just... That's not what I'm going to spend my money on.
I mean, you're looking at the graphic. There's like 6 or 7 different characters that they give you a figure and a mini comic for. It's kind of cool. It's a good last-minute Christmas gift if you're looking for one.
I mean, I like the artwork on it, but we talked about that last week. Although, did you see the one with Luke Skywalker on it?
Yeah.
He looks kind of derpy. Kind of goofy.
That's a really flattering term.
Yep, derpy.
Really flattering term. I would get it, especially for the kiddos, because it gives them a figure, gives them something to read. So if you're a parent especially, and you need Johnny or Susie just calm down for a couple of minutes. Okay, give them a comic book, give them an action figure, and lock them in their bedroom. They'll be fine.
I mean, I think like if I'm trying to get gifts for kids, this
Perfect.
would be high on my list.
Great stocking stuffer. The other thing that we wanted to talk about is Steam is having a ridiculous sale right now on classic Star Wars games, 65% off a lot of the classics. I mean, we're talking Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Jedi Racer,
Galactic Battlegrounds.
Battlegrounds.
I picked that one up.
It's our favorite. Is there a way? Can you just pull up the whole list from StarWars.com and then just crank them out?
Yeah.
Is there a way to do that?
Well, it's going to open up Steam, but now it's updating Steam for me.
Oh, that would take too long. We'll just go to StarWars.com. We have the article right there on the main front page. You'll click it. It has like the icon of Old Republic or whatnot. I'm probably excited. I already have the original Battlefront 1 and 2. I'm going to get Knights of the Old Republic because it's been a very long time since I've played that game, and I want to refresh my mind while we continue to debate if Benioff and Weiss will do that kind of a movie or that kind of series of movies. But 65% off of like the classic games. You're talking like X-Wing, Rogue Squadron.
Empire at War, Gold Pack, Knights of the Old Republic, The Force Unleashed, Battlefront 2. See, some of these I would much rather play on a console because I don't like first-person shooters on the
That's
computer.
valid.
Lego Star Wars 3, Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga, a whole lot of different racing games, X-Wings, TIE Fighters, Pod Racers, Star Wars Rebel Assault and Rebel Assault 2. We're getting into things like Afterlife. I guess these aren't Star Wars ones.
Yeah, we just care about the Star Wars ones on the show. It's
Beyond
Beyond the Blastdoors.
Rogue Squadron.
Star Wars Conversation.
A lot of cool stuff. Dark Forces.
May the Force be with you.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so if you like video games, check that out. Now we're done with Pages, Pixels, and Pieces. I want to thank our sponsors one more time. The Fantasy Shop in Maplewood, Missouri, proudly a sponsor of the show. I think they're proud to be the sponsor of our show. We're proud to have our local comic book shop as a sponsor of our show. Comics, collectibles, toys, Magic the Gathering, and board games. Fantasy Shop, St. Louis, proudly serving St. Louis since 1981. Stash or Blast It. We're going to go fast through this. News just broke recently. Warwick Davis returning to host Star Wars Celebration. The Celebration stage at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, April 2019. We'll be there. We'll hope to see you there too. Blast it or stash it. Warwick Davis is back to host. I'm excited to stash it. I'm going to stash it too because you're talking about a guy who is Wicket the Ewok. Comes back in Phantom Menace to play that one character in the crowd shot of the pod racing race. But he's always come back to these festivals, and I think he's that perfect combination of was in the movies, is a fan of the franchise. I think a lot of people connect to him pretty well. So excited for that. Definitely going to stash that. ABC announces a Christmas sneak peek at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the theme park that's being constructed in both Florida and in California. David, blast or stash it? I'm going to blast it. I don't want to see the production, the construction photos of this. It's going to take me, if I look at a picture of them building Millennium Falcon, I'm just going to see them, building a fake Millennium Falcon. Yeah. Give me the finished product. I'm going to blast it because I don't mind getting sneak peeks of the rides, although I would kind of like to be surprised as I walk into those rides. Yep. I don't need sneak peek background shots of the theme park. Give me behind-the-scenes shots of Episode 9, The Mandalorian. I care about your movies and TV products. I will go to your park no matter what. Okay, so blast it for me. The last one, this is what I'm calling now. The third one of Stash or Blast It will always be Zero Clue. What do I call it, Jordan? Zero Clue of the Week? Great. So Mike Zero is a YouTuber who has a successful account. He comes up with theory and speculation videos, and they're always really outrageous. And so since we've been doing the live show the last couple of weeks, what I've done for this segment usually is I just pick the 5 most ridiculous video titles that he comes up with, and I'm like, do you blast or stash this, this, or this, or this? And I was like, you know what? I think we're only going to give Mike one topic in Stash or Blast It. So to me, the most ridiculous video that came out this week from Mike Zero, we have zero clue about this. Palpatine and Sidious will have a lightsaber duel in Episode 9 where Snoke has this blazing white blade.
Snoke and Palpatine.
Snoke and Palpatine.
Not Sidious.
No, yes. Yeah.
Sidious and Palpatine, that'd be like fighting yourself. That'd be kind of awkward.
But Palpatine and Snoke are going to battle this one out in Episode 9.
Blast it. That'd be ridiculous.
Blast it, man. But, man, you know what? He's good because he still got us talking about it on our show. That man is good. He is. Zero clue about Star Wars, really. He has zero clue about what's going to happen in Episode 9 for sure. If you don't believe me, look what happened in The Last Jedi and go back and look at what he said it would actually happen. Oh, I liked what he actually wanted to have happen. Okay, so that's going to do it for Stash It or Blast. So what do you think about these topics? Let us know in the comment below. We are going on to Stay on Target. And staying on target is super simple. This week because, we're just talking about 2019. And what we're going to do for you guys is we're not going to have a live show next weekend. And honestly, we're surprised we had a live show this week. We made it happen, even though we're down Jesse, who's sick. I've been dealing with illness, so has David. We finally got rebuilt. So to make this easier on everybody, we're going to record a special episode on what?
Can I go to the live chat real
Yeah,
quick?
go ahead.
So Jesse just piped in on the topic about the theme park.
Yeah.
And Jesse says, I just need them to show me my living quarters.
Yeah, we're really afraid. We're actually going to be posting a job opening when the park's open because Jesse's going to leave us for good.
Yep.
Point is, we're going to do a special episode for next week. It's going to be David and I, and we're going to be talking strictly episode 9, and we are going to do over and unders on everything. So we're going to talk about Rey, Poe, Finn, Leia, Luke. We're going to be talking about Rose. We're going to talk about what's going to happen with the Falcon. We're going to go as deep as how many camera wipes we think are going to be in this movie. So we're going to go from top to bottom, from production to what's going to happen with our characters on camera. That will drop next weekend, and then we'll have a couple of shorter videos that will drop over the course of the week just to keep you guys entertained while you are hopefully enjoying a week-long holiday break. And if not, you can watch us at work because who really gets stuff done during this next week anyways. So that's what's going to go out next week. Right now, we're just going to be talking about what we anticipate the most. We've broken into 3 categories. And these aren't the best categories. I'll change this around a little bit. We'll improv this, but
Okay.
Let's just have a conversation about it. When I think about on screen, I think I'm most excited about The Mandalorian
December 19th. I'm ready.
because I just think that episode 9. I just don't think that conclusion will probably be what I want because the trilogy is not what I want. I'm not trying to take that away from you, what you think, but I think I'm most excited about where we're going with the TV storytelling because I think because of the backlash of Last Jedi and I think because of the unfortunate box office situation with Solo, I think Lucasfilm and Disney are going to go away from the theater for a while with Star Wars, and it's all attention on the TV streaming. What do you think?
I'm okay with that. I'm 100% behind having a TV series that's going to be good quality because that means we can have more hours of content versus fewer hours of higher production value content. So I am very much looking forward to next December when The Mandalorian comes out.
I think it's great. I mean, I think that when I think of the Cassian Andor series, okay, I could have a 2-hour adventure with him. I mean, most likely I would never get that movie in the first place.
Right.
But because of the streaming service, we're going to get, 6, 8, 10 episodes exploring this galaxy with Cassian Andor. That's a victory, too. I think that's my number 3 on the list, though. I think it goes Mandalorian, Episode 9.
And then Cassian
And then
Andor.
Cassian. Actually, you know what? This stinks. I'm actually going to go Mandalorian, the Clone Wars final season,
And then
Episode
Falcon.
9.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how I'm going to do that because
When are we getting the Clone Wars final season? Is that
I think that drops the moment the Disney streaming service drops in 2019. I don't think we've got an official date. I'm pretty sure that all the recording has been done for it. So there was an interview that James Arnold Taylor did recently where he's like, I've known about this for a long time. I think it was the Star Wars show where he's just like, yeah, I've known about this for like a year and a half, and it's all because of the fans.
It's got to be hard not being able to talk about that.
Oh, I'm sure.
It looks like November 8th is when the Disney Plus is supposed to.
Perfect,
released.
November. I couldn't remember if it was September, October, or November, so glad we got that clarified. In book or comic, or you could do both, David, but what are you looking forward to the most when it comes to text? Because we know we have text in Star Wars now, so.
Right. I guess in paper form, I am most looking forward to some of these one-shots that we're getting. The General Grievous one, I think, would be really cool. Darth Maul, I think, will be great. Obi-Wan Kenobi. We just got Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's next month. I think I'm looking forward to the Grand Moff Tarkin one. I think that'd be really cool. The more I see him in Star Wars media, the more I want to know more about him and how he got to that position. And then once we get to the Age of Resistance, Supreme Leader Snoke, because I want to know more about how he got to where he is now.
I'm down with that. I think for comics, I'm most excited. I'm following this Age of Republic, this Age of Rebellion, Resistance. I'm following that pretty closely. That's going to be the comics that really do it for me. I finished collecting variants. I think the last kind of variant collection they did, the face posters, that didn't really do it for me. So I'm focusing on comics I'm just going to read. I think it's going to be that maxi series. For book, for me, though, Master and Apprentice, hands down. Claudia Gray is my favorite Star Wars writer right now, and she owns the Leia character. She told a great first story with Lost Stars. I'm excited to see what she does with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Claudia Gray wrote the Qui-Gon short story in the 40 Years short story novelization. I'm pumped to see what she does, especially after we got that Jodie Hauser single shot Qui-Gon Age of Republic comic. Just seeing Qui-Gon in action, I'm excited to see what Claudia Gray will do with that character and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So pretty thrilled about that. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Toys. Is there a toy, a Star Wars toy, that we're most looking forward to? For me, I would usually say Legos. But there isn't a Lego set that's dropped that's really all that exciting. With the drop ship and the AT&T.
You know they're going to drop more Lego sets, though. More are coming.
I mean, I want to believe so.
If we're getting another movie and we're getting the Clone Wars back and 2 TV shows, they're going to drop something.
Well, yeah, that stuff will drop in the fall or summer.
What do they call that day in September where they drop all the toy lines, new comics, Star Wars? Force Friday. Yeah. They're going to drop some more stuff there.
You have May the 4th, something like that.
We got Celebration. There's plenty of time for them to drop more
I know,
Star
I'm just
Wars
saying
sets.
the first wave doesn't really titillate me. That's a good word, titillate. Look it up in the dictionary. I think we've really nailed it all. I will tell you this. We're going to do a video on it. I got my holy grail when it comes to Star Wars comics. I got the comic. I got the Star Wars comic that I'm going to do a separate video for. But I'm most excited about that thing getting graded and no one ever touching it because it's mine. Like Lord Vader. Okay, cool. The last thing I want to touch on with this stuff is just some Episode 9 stuff. I thought it'd be kind of fun. Headlines that we might see this time next year. So I wrote a couple. And maybe you can give me some feedback. And if you have any of your own, David.
These sound like something you would see on an Onion article.
Yeah. So an era ends. Episode 9 concludes Skywalker saga forcefully. This could be taken either way, but I would say this would be used as a victory headline. So maybe the box office is a real success for Episode 9. Of course, this is a lot harder to do when you don't know the name of the movie. So bear with me because I'm calling it The Force Reborns in this next headline. Force Reborn plays mind trick on December box office. This is another loophole one. This could be okay, box office does really well, or it what I'm thinking here is just like what's happened. All these movies have moved from their original date to clear way for Episode 9, so that's not really a good one. Number 3, Hamill. I wish fans could have seen George's version.
I like that one.
So I should have made thumbnails for these because I have a great idea for that one.
There'd be a follow-up. Disney sues Mark Hamill for libel and slander.
Yeah, you know how many videos we could all make on that? The next one that I have is Harrison Ford. I wish it was over 30 years ago. I'm miserable. Originally, I said wish it was over in 82, but I don't think the year's not right. Okay, and this is the last one, and this isn't going to be a slam, but I just think it's consistent with what we've gotten from a lot of people on Twitter.
This is my favorite that you've written.
Fans ruin Star Wars franchise again. Lucasfilm dissolves. So it's just you guys, not you, but you complainers, you whiners, you ruin it so badly that they just dissolve Lucasfilm and we get no movies again. So those are my what is that 5 that I provided? Any of those you think will actually come to fruition?
Maybe Mark Hamill saying something inappropriate about the movie, but we'll see.
What I like about the Star Wars conversation that we have with the community that we've built, and we are small but mighty. It is always so positive, and I appreciate us being able to tell these kind of jokes and know that we don't take it too seriously. But I do think I like the Harrison Ford one. Harrison Ford. I wish it would have been over 30 years ago. FanCom Link is the last segment of our show here on episode 52, Beyond the Blast Doors. Glad that you're joining it with us live. If you have a title for the media to use for episode 9, let us know in the live chat comments down below. Actually, that's what we want you to do. For the comment section, after this stream ends, please comment after we're done with your best media headline. That would be the best thing ever. Okay, FanCom Link. The first question we have here is from Ian, host of the Hoth podcast, and Ian's a good friend of the show now, and He says, with canon bringing legend stories back to the galaxy in a new and different way, what's the one story or character you'd like to see make it and why? David Beauty before the host. So what do you say?
Okay, so here's where Jesse would be helpful to have, because I don't know what exactly is canon versus not canon anymore.
Okay.
Is Darth Raven from Knights of the Old Republic, is he considered canon, or is he back in Legends?
Raven is not. We've had Bane.
Okay.
Raven was almost Raven. Darth Raven. Yeah, there we go. Was almost canon, but it didn't happen in Clone Wars.
That would be kind of cool.
Okay. Revan.
If he was canon, my follow-up was going to be Starkiller from The Force Unleashed.
Yes.
Because that would be so cool. I played those in college with my roommate. Thoroughly enjoyed them. And if he is he canon or is he's not canon?
He's
right?
not
Okay.
canon. Should have been. Those were George Lucas stories. I believe The Force Unleashed 1 and 2. There was originally he was under consideration to be an Inquisitor for Star Wars Rebels.
Really?
But they felt like he was just like too strong. It's like there's no way that Kanan and Ezra could have handled that. So he was scratched. We actually did a video on it. It was like one of our first videos that actually got some attention. So that was pretty cool. For me, I want Jackson the bunny.
Really? That's what you're gonna bring back out of 42 years of books and comics. You're gonna bring back the bunny.
I just think he would bring some diversity to the galaxy that people have been really craving. I think that you shouldn't judge a character based on their appearance or the lack of creative ingenuity going into the creation of the character. And, it's another bounty hunter that you can add to your list of rogues and the antics that could ensue. Tag and Bink. We got that long-form comic with them.
I reread that,
but
the
that
other
doesn't
day.
make them canon. That they're still legends. So bring them in. I don't know. With all this, it's just there's gonna be people who are gonna look at the Thrawn trilogy and they're gonna want elements out of that. Like they're gonna want Thrawn to come back and they want to make somehow those books canon again, which I don't think can happen because of the new 3 that we've gotten from Timothy Zahn. I think it's always a fun conversation where you can dive into these things. I mean, what do you want Mara Jade? That's not really a thing anymore. I would have liked to have seen that character. I would have liked to see who does the guy that you play when you're doing like Jedi Academy and all that? That's not Dash Rendar.
I don't know. I haven't played
Dash
that one.
Rendar is an EU character, though, that I think a lot of people talk about wanting to bring him back. Kyle Katarn is who I'm thinking of. Kyle Katarn was the one that's originally stole the plans to the Death Star. Well, you can't really use him anymore.
Yep. Mando Fury, our buddy Jesse, he says Kyle Katarn and Starkiller would be nice. C. Lawson in the live chat says Jackson Rabbit. He agrees with you.
Yes.
He says yes with a lot of S's on that. So I presume that's with gusto and enthusiasm.
I got his first appearance, which Star Wars comic first appearances really don't do much unless you have Star Wars number 1, 1977 in Mylar at a 9.4 grade.
Yeah. I think David's got something in his comic.
Don't look at it. Don't even breathe on it, you son of a gun. Ian, I would love to know what you think, actually. What are the EU characters that you want to see come back? Are you okay that I took this a little juvenile in a way and brought you the funnier characters? Do you like how serious David was and he wants Revan back? Do you like, other... Well, I mean, just let us know. And if you're watching with us live, tell us right now. Let us know in the comments below. What's the next fan link question? What do we have?
Let's see. Next one
Michael
comes
Kepi?
from, do you think they will reevaluate how to market and rethink release dates for films, or are the standalones truly dead?
I think that's a question that a lot of people have, but I think we have to be at the point where we accept the standalone is dead. And it's for the reason that I mentioned before. The priority is not the theatrical release, I think, after 9 for Lucasfilm and Disney. It's the TV shows and the theme park. It is really taking this franchise and turning it into an empire of its own, beyond what even George was able to do. And you build that theme park, and it's now a priority for Lucasfilm and Disney. And you're creating these TV shows, and it's going to be, a TV product that we've never seen before. It is going to be cinematic. It is going to be... the way I look at it is, you are getting saga-quality storytelling on these TV shows. And if I get anything less than that, I'll be disappointed because that's kind of the way they're marketing these products. So I think the standalones are dead. I don't think they are if Solo is released in December. It's interesting because John Kasdan just posted on Twitter the other day, who is a co-writer on Solo with his dad, Larry. And John was just like, it'd be interesting to know what Solo would have done at the box office had it come out this month, which I think is pretty courageous of a guy who got a paycheck from Disney questioning the moves of Bob Iger. But Bob Iger even went on record saying, hey, it was my decision to push it up. May I wanted to have a strong first half. I think you double the money. I think a lot more people go to see it in theaters. In turn, a lot more people buy it on home release, whether that's DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, or online somehow. And we've talked about that a lot of times. I think it was that business decision is the reason why we're not going to get an Obi-Wan Kenobi standalone movie. If there was any hope of having a Kylo or a Luke and Ben standalone movie where you could have gotten Luke, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker in his prime, that's out the window.
I mean, as far as I'm still aware, we've still got the 3 Johnson movies coming out and the 3 Benioff and Weiss movies. There's still another 6 movies, coming down the road.
Well, they're saying that Benioff and Weiss is a series, so it could be more than 3. Okay. But at the same time, we're hearing nothing about it.
Well, we knew that though because they're not supposed to take over that until after Game of Thrones.
Right. So that's April of next year, and hopefully we'll learn more information about that. But my curiosity is if they will all be theatrical, or will they be streaming?
I don't know.
From our understanding so far, all these are supposed to be theatrically released, and I think the Benioff and Weiss stuff will be. I still have hesitation about the Rian Johnson stuff. I still don't know if I want to commit to that actually still happening or not. He's been recently quoted saying it is, but I don't know. Also, one thing to nip in the butt here, people are like, hey, stop talking about The Last Jedi. It was last December already. People are never going to stop talking about Star Wars. We got a follow-up. We had this point last week. We're going to be talking about Star Wars probably until we die. So if you don't like The Last Jedi talk, it is never going to stop. And by the way, I watched the last 10 minutes where Luke walks through the flame and he takes on the First Order with the laser sword. It is kind of dope. Okay, cool. That's going to do it. Episode 52.
Cool.
It's in the books. I went on a little rant there. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
We want to remind you that we're going to have a special episode next week where we do a deep dive in Episode 9, possible titles. Maybe we reevaluate our media headlines. We'll do some character dives. It'll be pretty cool. And then we also have a couple comic book videos that we want to drop if time allows. And then we'll be with our families. So we just want to say have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate, however you celebrate. Enjoy it with the friends and family that you love. Maybe you like or love some of them more than others. I think we all might have that issue. Just keep eating. Just keep eating or drinking. Alcohol usually sometimes makes in-laws more tolerable, or maybe it's your cranky grandpa. I don't know. Just be happy. It's Christmas. It's the end of the year. Merry Christmas, buddy.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Jordan. Do you celebrate Christmas? You do? That's awesome. You guys have a tree at your house? Yeah, very cool. All right. We're going to wrap up the show. That's going to do it. Let's roll the end credits. We're going to get out of here. Episode 52. It's in the books. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. May the Force be with you.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.